You couldn't just give me some good news, could you, Bungie? You couldn't just have me have one long form video with good news. No. You had to give me another bad news day. But before we get into the bad long form content, make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe, and also watch another video if you can. I would greatly appreciate it. Watching another video tells the algorithm that you like what you watch and you want my content to be suggested to other people. So thank you so much. Let's get into it. So Bungie is probably one of the most beloved devs out there. They've made some iconic games and some groundbreaking games like Halo. There was never another game like Halo before it came out, and also its multiplayer was also something very groundbreaking. And they went on to make all the Halos that they made, and also Destiny and Destiny 2. And we all kind of felt like, what the when Bungie decided to publish Destiny with Activision, and we were like, well, there goes Bungie, it's gonna be horrible. And we kind of just chalked up all the bad decisions that they made to Bungie being kind of locked up by Activision, and we all were celebrating once they left Activision. But the unfortunate thing is that a lot of the bad decisions that are done by Bungie are because of Bungie, not because of Activision. And it's really starting to become noticeable, especially with the recent events that have happened. After a disappointing expansion of Lightfall and kind of a downer for everybody, I guess, in difficulty, in storytelling, and in probably overall just reception, the game wasn't really critically received very well. And in shocking nobody, Bungie is reportedly running 45% below projections for the year. And this is despite the fact that they were on Steam and just had a huge spike players. Destiny is one of the biggest games out there when it comes to multiplayer concurrent players. Let me just give you an example of what that is. Destiny is number 7 right now, and in terms of congruent players, it has 846,000 players. That's an insane amount of players. Putting it into perspective, at its peak, Destiny was at 1.65. Destiny 2, to be more accurate, was at 1.6 million players. The only people that are above Destiny right now, even while it's kind of dwindling in numbers, is Diablo and Warcraft, two of the most iconic online games of all time. That's what Blizzard's known for. That's their bread and butter. So it's not a dead game by any means, but the decisions that they make weren't very, let's just say, kosher. They were kind of ugly. I'm not gonna lie to you. They were kind of some of the ugliest things that Bungie's doing right now. So because of the 45% below target rates, they decided, well, we got to cut some talent because we're not going to be making enough money to appease the CEO's paycheck and to appease the shareholders. So what they do is that they get rid of all their social media handlers, the people that handle the social media, the people that are trying to calm the fans down if things go bad, the people that kind of managed this kind of of a ship right now for Bungie that has been acting up recently. And this isn't on the developers, by the way. This is completely on Bungie as a corporation, as usual. And so Monday morning, they decided to lay off 8% of its 1,200 headcount of people that work for them. Like I said, these are developers, these are the publishers, and this is a beloved composer that has been with them forever now, that has won awards, that has done really good stuff for them. And this is after PlayStation paid extra in order to keep talent on board. But because this doesn't count as developers and talent that they want to keep, this is talent that they believe is expendable. And the real kicker about this is that there's 3 layers of horribleness when it comes to this. And I quote, employees were also told Destiny 2's player sentiment was at an all-time low, sources tell IGN, that this issue had been flagged to the leadership repeatedly for months prior to the layoffs, with employees begging for necessary changes to win back players. So this is something that they knew about, and yet on top of that, punish the people who are telling you this because of the fact that you didn't make the necessary changes in your DLC expansion. Okay, another thing, just some key points that we got to go over before we close this out. The layoff decisions came directly from Bungie management, not Sony. This is not about Sony replacing Bungie employees with their own people. This is their own thing. This is what they wanted to do. This is completely in their own power. Key point number 2. Many employee benefits, although not health insurance, only lasts until a single edition day of coverage. Wow, thank you, Bungie. You're so sweet. You're so maleficent. I mean, is that the correct word? No, it's not. Anyhow, you know what I mean. Key point number 3. Many employees had unvested shares as a result of the Sony purchase. These shares would be received based on staying with the company for a certain number of years following the sale, but those sales revert back to Bungie if you leave, even if you're fired, which is happening now to those many affected. Okay, one more key point. 3 more key points. Many Bungie employees that were fired found out in the morning when they were locked out of their servers, logins, emails, and their emails act as evil. That's fucking horrible. Others who instead found out in meetings were told not to tell team members themselves, as teams would be told by other means. Many employees were unable to say goodbye or exchange contacts. Key point number 3 of this. Many team managers were not told at all about who their team was being laid off and only found out as it happened. Poor management to the max. And keep in mind, this has nothing to do with PlayStation. This has nothing to do with anything that they did. This is all on Bungie. And then to put the icing and the little cherry on top with the CEO and what he said. Today is a sad day at Bungie as we say goodbye to colleagues who have all made a significant impact on our studio. Peter Parsons wrote on Twitter on October 30th after the news broke. What these exceptional individuals have contributed to our games and Bungie culture has been enormous and will continue to be a part of Bungie long into the future. Yeah, maybe you should have kept them because you were paid to keep them. You were paid $1.3 billion to keep them, but yet because you didn't make enough money, I don't see the CEO taking any pay cuts, by the way. This is usually tradition in most gaming companies, at least in Japanese gaming companies, that if you're not doing as well, that's what Nintendo CEOs did. If your company isn't doing as good as you did, you take a pay cut so your employees can stay. Clearly horrible management. The tweet has since been ratioed, with some commentators calling remarks tone deaf and asking the executive whether he had to take a pay cut before deciding who to lay off. Bungie has so far declined to comment on the situation. Of course not. Of course they're not. By no means is Destiny a dead game. It is not. It is not a dead game. No matter what anybody says, it's still going to be a huge game. It's still going to do good. But to punish not only the developers, but then on top of that, have some tone deaf comments, and then to go even further to blame the players that the reason why they're cutting off people is because, well, you didn't buy the expansion, so we can't afford it. I'm sorry. And then delay Anthem to 2024, and then delay the last expansion that Destiny's gonna have all the way to 2025 is the most insane thing I've ever heard in my entire life. This is punishment to the developers and to the player base, and not to the people that should be punishment, which is the management that mismanaged this that has nothing to do with the developers, that has nothing to do with the people that were fired, but has everything to do with the people in power, the CEO, the CFO, everybody that's in charge to make the decisions of this game to go through for developers to be able to do their job. It's on them. I'm tired of bad news, man. Like, for reals, I'm really tired of it. But I really hope that Destiny players really stand up for themselves, because Destiny players are really known to take punishment and abuse, and I hope that you guys really stand up for yourselves, because this is bullshit. You guys have made Bungie one of the most iconic online congruent player base in the world. Like I told you, you guys number 7. You guys have the number 7 most active player base even after the 45% hit. Thank you for watching. I know that was a little intense. Make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe. Stories like this get me really worked up, man. They get me really worked up because of the fact that like people that work hard and legitimately want to make the game better. I can understand if the devs were doing all and we're just being complete pieces of garbage, but the more I find out about this, the more I start siding with the developers more, because it's usually the people on top that make games come out horrible. And yes, we have stories of developers just putting out big purges even when they have all the freedom in the world, but in this case, this has nothing to do with the developers at all, and it pisses me off because the players who spend so much money on this game deserve a good game and deserve the rewards that they should give when they have done nothing but support Bungie, even when they were with Activision, when they left, when they got purchased by PlayStation. And yeah, thank you for watching, guys. Make sure you guys watch another video if you can. This has been the after show. Remember, you are pretty good.